7, 6.
Hi, we're at Consensus 2019 and I'm here with my friend Ian Utile. How are you, Ian?
I'm wonderful.
Love your work.
I love working with you.
Ian's a really good friend of mine. We've worked together many times now.
Yeah.
You're an amazing thought leader, entrepreneur, and you just think of incredibly crazy things for us to do sometimes.
I know.
Like jump on a plane and just go to Puerto Rico.
I like courage. I'm like addicted to risk, hopefully in the right ways.
And you got this beautiful smile on your face too.
So people feel like it's probably safe. Look how nice his smile is.
That's right, this won't hurt a bit.
It won't hurt. Worst case scenario doesn't meet
Lovely.
Expectations. That's the worst thing that happens for people in my life. They don't meet expectations.
Man, I want to meet your expectations. So
I want to be yours.
So here we are at Consensus 2019, and we've been talking about NFTs.
Yeah.
So tell me what you've been doing.
So we've been here at the Swag Bag Help Desk.
Yeah.
So throughout.
What do you mean swag bag?
So digital swag bag. So what
digital swag bag.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what's normal for events that we've gone to for decades is you'll walk in, you'll have a bag, it'll weigh a lot, and there's a bunch of stuff in there you really don't want.
And you leave it at the airport or something.
Yeah, and it's all promotional stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is our chance to say, what do people at this event, Consensus 2019, what would they actually want? What do they want?
These are blockchain people, so
That's
they
right.
sort of understand what NFT is.
Right, non-fungible tokens.
What's a non-fungible token?
Think of it this way, it's a crypto collectible or a digital asset that's a one-off thing.
Well, a digital asset is
like think of it like this, a ticket. So your ticket to a concert is a non-fungible.
Yeah. Non-fungible means
there's only one of it.
Unique.
Right? You can't. One ticket's not the same. It has a different seat number, a different date.
Yeah.
And so a non-fungible. Okay, here's an example. So here we have
this is a kitty.
A crypto kitty.
But this is not like real. This is like a physical.
It's just a digital. It's just a digital
in
asset.
the swag bag, you get a thing,
right?
A token that gives you one of these.
That's exactly
which
right.
Then lives online.
Right.
So this is physical.
Yeah.
And
So
we're
this
going to put it in the camera, and it's going to go whoosh, and now it's online.
So 1,500 people here got crypto kitties. Somebody got
1,500 attendees got.
That's right.
They each got a crypto kitty.
That's right. Out of the 5,000
in their swag bag.
In their digital swag bag.
And what did they have to do to get the swag bag?
All they have to do is go to consensusswag.com
and go claim.
I have a ticket.
And then it goes. They get a little.
They fill out their profile.
They get a digital wallet, which is sort of like a place for keeping digital assets.
That's exactly right.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, they watch it, and these tokens appear.
Yes.
And then they tap on them, and they get their kitty, and then everything else.
Right. And I think we created more tokens here than anybody's ever created.
Over 200,000.
Over 200,000 tokens.
Yeah.
So other things that are common is like you can redeem a token for a shirt.
Yeah. Or enter a competition for an AirPad.
For AirPods, giving some AirPods away. You could get a Consensus Pass for life. You could redeem, for life. You could come to this for the rest of your life with no cost.
If I live for 100 years, that's like $200,000.
With medicine, you might live 160. You're just getting started.
I said 200.
You said 200?
Did I say 200?
I think you said 100.
Did I say, okay. Well,
Let's pretend 200. You said 100 and I took you further. You said 200, I'd be like, you live 450, why not? It's in the science fiction movies.
I actually think once we get to another 50, we'll be able to choose how long we want to be. But we might be a bit wrinkly.
We'll have to see. I mean,
but you know what? If we live that long, we might become NFTs.
We might just figure out a way to at least put a shadow of who we are.
That's my thing. That's why I'm doing this, because I think that these digital assets give us a way to collaborate and express ourselves online.
Right.
And so I actually think that in the future, it won't be Jody on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. It'll be Jody and his little collection of NFTs who tell people who I am. And so there'll be little components of me in these NFTs. I won't have to patent me. I won't have to copyright me. I will be registered on the blockchain.
That's right.
So when you see me in 50 years with that lifetime ticket,
right,
you'll be seeing the collection of NFTs and maybe wrinkly Jody.
Yeah.
More wrinkly Jody.
It'll be
more hairless Jody. Or maybe I'll have hair again by then.
Maybe you'll have hair again.
I love your hair, by
maybe
the way.
You'll
I'm jealous of your hair.
Well, I've wanted long hair my whole life.
Like Ian.
So yesterday was messy with my hat backwards. Today is nice and crisp and clean. I'm doing a big investor thing tonight.
You look beautiful.
So I have to look investor-ish.
Yeah.
So people are like,
You'll have to get rid of your t-shirt you want. I'll lend you my jacket. How's that?
I have a real, here, I have, just wait, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you what I got. This is my version
of Jody's jacket.
of a tuxedo. It doesn't really get more professional than something that can go gold.
I think that's West Hollywood.
Silver.
I don't think that's New York. I think that's West Hollywood.
Well, you know what? If New York is not appreciating my fashion decisions, I'm just fine with that. I'm not looking to please anybody.
So anyway, this has been a great conference.
I know, it has been. The swag bag's been a big hit. Over 1,000 people have redeemed.
Over 1,000
It's amazing.
have claimed their bag.
That's right.
And they're now redeeming their tokens. And what's very fun is that we will progressively be delivering more NFTs into the swag bag today, tomorrow, and then days after the event.
Right.
And for me, this is just one of the applications of NFTs. You know, events and swag is really cool. But what if anyone could create their own NFT and then put it into the game that they're playing? And tonight we're going to a gaming event, and we'll be talking to the game producers about how you could make your beautiful NFT of you in your tuxedo and drop that into a game so people can play with virtual Ian in the latest blockchain game.
Right. I think that's one of the big applications is, you know, games. Art is another huge application. Yes. Sports.
You've been doing some work with Josie.
I'm very excited about Josie's artwork and many other crypto artists. I think that there's, like, I actually had an artist I represented for several years, about 20 years ago. I spent probably 4 or 5 years working with that artist. He had over $100 million in art that he had printed and that was, you know, available. He was like the Thomas Kincaid of the 70s, you know, the big, well-manufactured, all the puzzles and the mugs. And there's always the thing that we faced in that, how do you prove what's what?
Yeah, totally.
So the thought, like, if I only would have been in the art business today, with all of it, or 5 years from now, can you imagine how far it's going to go?
You're registering art assets so that the artist actually continues to earn revenue as their art is sold.
That's right.
Because many artists just stay poor because their art doesn't appreciate for a very long time.
Right.
And it's the most recent owner who makes the money.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, it's the proof that it is what it says it is. It's also the ability to sell it.
Yes.
Like right now, middlemen are a very big problem in the entire...
They take 40%.
They take 40% and they pick and choose what they want to represent. Yes. And you could have a great piece of art that they would find desirable, but they don't even have a way to find out about
NFT solves that problem by registering the art on the blockchain.
That's right.
And that NFT then goes with the artwork.
Right. What are some other, like let's say you talk to an enterprise. You're on a plane, you're sitting next to a CEO of a Fortune 100 company, a CFO, some chief at a Fortune 100 company.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it comes up, real case uses for blockchain today, 2019.
Yes.
What's your conversation that you have with a fellow executive?
Well, the first thing I do is explain that this is all about being able to register his digital assets that he probably already has a copyright or a patent or a trademark for. And once he actually registers his digital asset, it might be his brand ambassador that he uses. It might be a webinar that he's having. Once he does that on the blockchain, he can then send that NFT out for people to claim.
Right.
Or he can insert it into another blockchain application so that people can use it in fun ways. I mean, as I said, for this conference, there's a swag bag. For gaming, he can put his ambassador in a game so people can have fun and then see it. I mean, we've done something pretty cool with Decentraland. Decentraland is a blockchain world, a little bit like Second Life, but on the blockchain, and people get to register little plots of land.
Right.
And we've created a template so any landowner can now instantly create their shop to sell NFTs. Right. And so a company could create a shop in Decentraland to sell NFTs about their business that could redeem for a webinar or tickets or brand things or you know an offer about their new product. And for direct marketers, NFTs are pretty cool because most people don't open emails anymore because they're getting junk. Right. But what if I was actually to send you something that had real value? Right. And NFTs have real value. And we just heard that eBay now is allowing people to register their digital assets on eBay, which means that you can even sell these things.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And I can imagine a company like yours will find ways, NFT cred,
Yes.
to actually engage with and interact with
Yes.
eBay
Yes, totally.
and bridge that gap,
Absolutely.
much like you've already done with OpenSea and others.
Yes, we've written an API with OpenSea, who are the leading marketplace for digital assets, and we hope to do the same with eBay.
And so, what do you think Consensus 2020 looks like? What is the digital swag bag? How does that mature over the next year?
Well, we'd like people to press one button, not to have to enter their registration details again. So we just pick it all up. And when they redeem the token, they don't have to enter their registration details. They just get the thing. And right now what happens is you have to enter your details, you have to claim the token, and then when you get the token, you then have to go and register again with the user. So that will be seamless. The NFTs will become more intelligent. So they'll know a little bit more about you. And what's super fun is that we're going to make sure the NFTs can relate to each other.
Right.
So I used the example in my talk. Yesterday I was on stage with David Packman and Mickey from Dapper. And I said, crispy bacon is what I love. And I almost delivered the crispy bacon token to everyone in the audience. And then I thought, my Jewish mother-in-law may not be happy with me doing that, and the kosher people in the audience may not like the crispy bacon. But what I wanted to do was deliver a crispy bacon token, and then everyone who claimed that token would then be someone who I could talk to about crispy bacon. And my big idea about relationships and connections is that we connect through topics that interest both of us. And I said to the audience, look, if I give you all a crispy bacon token, what other token could come together, and when you get two of them, could give you something? And the guy next to me said, well, what about an egg token?
Right.
So if you have the crispy bacon token and the egg token, what are you going to get?
Right, you have breakfast.
Redemption for buffet breakfast at the Hilton. So NFTs can come together in intelligent ways, and that's one of the things that we would like to do for next year.
That's great. How about 10 years out? How do you envision this being developed when the chain or the chains there's no bandwidth issues, there's no speed issues, everything has kind of been worked out. All the enterprise, the Global 2000 are fully engaged with the distributed ledger technology, and that's just a modern part of how things are done.
Yeah.
How do you envision NFTs being used, not just standard, but what are some courageous risks that you imagine being taken 10 years from now as you and your team continue to push the limits of what's possible as time goes on?
Well, I would like to set up my NFT to be a little bot that actually roams the web collecting revenue for me as an individual. So, it may end up at a website, and they may have mentioned something that I've said or quoted a tweet or used a photo that I put in a tweet. Or it may come across a company that would like my data. There's a guy from New York who's doing tech things. And here's Boards. Boards, come and say hi to our audience. We're live streaming.
Come on in.
Boards is the man.
Hi, everyone.
Boards is Mr. Consensus 2019. And I'm just finishing up with Ian. I was answering a question, what will our NFTs look like in 10 years' time? And
What do you think CoinDesk events will look like in 10 years' time?
I'm going to let you guys do this.
Great.
I'll come back.
Okay. You want to join me? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Come on in. So, everybody, again, for those that are just tuning in, I'm Ian Utile. We're here at Consensus 2019, and I'm here with Peter Boards, who is the head of events for CoinDesk.
That's right, yeah.
So, all of this is because of you and your team.
That's right. Consensus really is a team sport. So, the CoinDesk team, we're still only about 40 people or so. So it's really a culmination of editorial, everyone on the business side as well, just to come together, have great content, networking, exhibits, please our sponsors, and just give an overall amazing experience to everyone involved.
What do you think your sponsors for Consensus 2019 desire most? Like, what causes them to come, and the time sacrifice, the financial investment to come and be here with all the people that you gather together? Like, what's their expectations? What are they looking for here?
It's, obvious one is the brand exposure, but, the reason that we put on this event, as far as the sponsors are concerned, is we want to be able to foster an environment where they could one day do, X% of their business over 3 days. And then, they're laying the groundwork for future connections, future business deals. But if deals are done at Consensus, then, that's a win for us because that's what our sponsors obviously want.
Now, you have 2 other events every year.
We do.
Do you want to talk about those for a moment?
Sure. So, the format of this conference is really, we kick it off with a 2-day hackathon, followed by a 3-day conference and expo. So This year we had 7 concurrent tracks, different tracks for different type of content, business, markets, tech. And then each night we have a reception, and there's obviously parties all over New York City.
Right.
So what we did September of last year is we pretty much took Consensus and we held it in Singapore. And it was a very similar format, except it was pared down a little bit to 2 days and single track. But the expo was much larger because we partnered with Techcelerate Asia, which incorporates several other industries like AR, VR, IoT, other tech industries that kind of have some type of correlation to blockchain and crypto.
Right. And for CoinDesk and the event portion, Consensus, how much is on stage? How much is digital? How much is like video, audio, written? Like, help me understand what's physical, what's digital, and digital. Is it a lot of written content that comes out of this time? Is it a lot of podcasts? Is it a lot of videos, live streaming? Like, help me understand what's the output of something like this?
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see how the conference has grown from a physical plus digital standpoint over the past only 5 years.
Right.
Because we started in 2015, it was a single track, single day conference. And now, again, we have 7 tracks. So all of our content is produced by our content team. We work very closely with our editorial team on that as well.
Right.
It's very separate from the business side because we don't want, one thing that CoinDesk prides ourselves on is the editorial integrity of the team pushing out content daily.
Right.
So we were very careful to keep the content separate from, the overall business objectives, the sponsors, everything of that nature. We do offer some sponsored content as far as a dedicated sponsor track.
Okay.
But when you're talking about the main stage, business, markets, tech tracks, those are all, independently produced. So we have live streamed in the past. What we have changed over to is we're recording all of our tracks, we're cutting them up every day, and they'll be posted. And then that way it gives us a little bit of we have more of a targeted approach about how we're distributing our content now.
Right.
And we've seen such a huge increase in, partners like you who come on site, they live stream, they do their own interviews. We have CNBC Africa, we've got Finder right over there. And, the amount of content that's produced even from third parties, that has just grown astronomically.
And what do you think the audience wants to consume? Like, people come here, they leave, they go back, they work with lots of people, and they want to tell people, hey, you really need to watch, listen, read. What is that content that is primary to the audience that you serve at your events?
Sure. I think attendees also have a similar objective to the sponsors.
Sure.
They obviously want to network. They want to make as many connections as possible to kind of line up their future pipeline. As far as the content goes, that's kind of what drove us to differentiate into different tracks. Because, if I'm a developer, I might want to come to Consensus for Construct, which is now co-located with Consensus.
Right.
So Construct is our developer conference. It has 3 different tracks where, depending on what level of a developer you are, you can kind of build your own experience. If you want to learn how to, code on a different platform, or if you want to hear updates from all of the different protocols, you can really kind of decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, you might want to go to, the business and the markets tracks. If you are, a thought leader, you might want to go to the workshops because those are a little bit more interactive.
Right.
You can kind of have more of a participation as far as where panels are, feeding the information. And then we have, again, all the third partners that are providing the interviews. But something that we launched last year, I believe, was CoinDesk.Live.
Right.
So that is going from nice and early in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, until after the conference closes, back-to-back interviews with speakers, VIPs, notable attendees that might have an announcement. and that we stream over Twitter because that's it's pretty much the easiest way to reach all of our followers.
Yeah, and so can you tell people where that's at? Because maybe you should stop watching our interview and go see what's actually professionally done by Peter and his team.
Yeah, so if you follow at CoinDesk, and you'll be able to see it upstairs on the 3rd floor promenade, and that'll be going on the rest of the day today through the end of the day Wednesday.
Great. Last thing is on the digital swag bag. So you partnered with NFT Cred, and the idea was like, hey, what if we don't have these bags we're handing out, but what if we give away things that can be redeemed, like an unlimited pass to Consensus, or time with a speaker, or a cryptocurrency, or a crypto kitty, or a redemption for a shirt, or whatever it may be.
Right.
How do you feel about how this has gone? Over 1,000 people have redeemed their NFT swag. How do you feel about that? And what do you think the future holds for all things digital swag bags?
Sure. We're absolutely thrilled.
Great.
So, we obviously provide the connections, we provide the networking, we also provide the content. A lot of the times the content, you're an attendee, you're in the crowd, you're almost being talked at a little bit. We do have some interactions between the crowd and the speakers through our mobile app where they can ask questions, but we really wanted to educate attendees about the technology. So what better way to do that than to allow them to use it and actually feel it and interact with it.
Right.
So we partnered with NFT.Cred, and it's hard to say where something new like this, how it's going to be picked up.
Right.
But we had over 50 sponsors participate, over 1,000 attendees, as you mentioned.
Right.
We have the help desk that's been busy the past day and a half.
Hey, you essentially have lines over here.
Yeah. We're thrilled. It's great. It's always great to see even if you're new to the technology. Like you might be here as an intern or through our scholarship program.
Right.
So you're getting your feet wet.
Yep.
But this is a way for them to really see the technology in use. Where it goes from here, we're going to be doing it at every event now. So Consensus Asia, and Consensus Invest. I hope that every single sponsor takes part in the future. It's a great way for them to drive traffic to their booth, brand awareness, of course.
I think so.
Open to suggestions and what people want to see, though, because we definitely want to iterate on everything that we offer for the attendee experience.
Great. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm just, it's been a great turnout.
Yeah.
We saw the market go crazy last year, and we've just kind of coming at a crypto winter maybe now. So it's great to see over 4,600 people from the industry converge on New York. There's over 30 events, part of Blockchain Week NYC. So it's fascinating to see this industry grow.
Yeah.
And it's really motivating how collaborative this industry is.
Yeah.
Other industries like insurance or real estate, people really hold on to their ideas.
Right.
But blockchain and crypto, you'll see people networking everywhere. They're collaborating. They're sharing ideas.
Quite a bit different.
And they want to advance the industry. So, we're happy that everyone came because that's what we're trying to do as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for jumping in.
Absolutely.
Jody
Thanks for having
roped
me.
you, so it's good. And I'll be back for more interviews soon.